Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into a really incredible story from a classic Buddhist text that pretty much flips what we think we know about wisdom completely upside down. It asks us to imagine that the deepest truths about reality might come not from some old seasoned master, but from an 8-year-old girl. So let's get right into it. So yeah, that's really the big question here. We usually look to people with decades of experience for wisdom, right? But what if the most profound teacher in the room was a little kid? This ancient text presents exactly that, a child who completely challenges everyone's understanding, from the Buddha's top disciples all the way to Manjushri, the bodhisattva of wisdom himself.
All right, so let's meet our main character. Her name is Miao Hui, which translates to wondrous wisdom, and trust me, she absolutely lives up to that name. She walks up to the Buddha, but she doesn't start with some big cosmic question. She starts with a series of really direct, really human questions.
And what's so great about this is how relatable her questions are. Look at this list. She's not asking about abstract philosophy just yet. She's asking about things we all think about: how to have a good life, how to be secure, how to have strong relationships, and, how to have a peaceful end. This really grounds the whole story in stuff that matters to us right here and now.
So how does the Buddha respond to all this? Well, he doesn't give some long, complicated lecture. Instead, he lays out 40 very specific, very concrete methods of practice. It's basically a clear, actionable guide for achieving the exact thing she asked about.
Okay, just to give you a feel for how this works, let's take one of her questions as an example. She asks, pretty bluntly, how can I become wealthy and respected? It's a very direct question, and the Buddha gives an equally direct, 4-part answer.
So get this. The path to gaining wealth, he says, is through generosity. But look how specific it is. It's not just about giving stuff away. You have to do it at the right time. Do it humbly, do it with joy, and, this is the big one, do it without expecting anything back. This is the pattern for all 40 methods. For every one of her goals, he gives 4 specific actions. It's not philosophy, it's a roadmap.
Okay, and this is where the story takes a huge, dramatic turn. After hearing all 40 of these methods, Miao Hui doesn't just nod and say, thanks. No, she makes a vow that is so powerful, the text says it literally shakes the world. Just let that sink in for a second. An 8-year-old girl is standing in front of the Buddha and this huge assembly, and she promises to perfectly follow every single one of these deep practices. She's basically saying, if I mess up on even one of these, then I've been a fraud and I've lied to the Buddha himself. Whoa, that is a level of commitment that definitely gets everyone's attention.
So you can imagine a vow like that gets some raised eyebrows. One of the Buddha's most senior disciples, Maudgalyana, steps in and basically asks her, hey kid, are you sure about this? This path is way harder than you think. But Miao Hui doesn't get defensive. Instead, she puts her vow to the ultimate test. She ties her sincerity directly to a cosmic event.
And bam, the second the words leave her mouth, it happens. The earth shakes, flowers rain down from a clear sky. This isn't just magic for the sake of drama. In the story, this is undeniable proof. It confirms her vow is true, and it sends a clear signal to everyone. This is no ordinary child. Her understanding is way deeper than anyone thought.
Now, an event like that, it gets noticed. It catches the attention of Manjushri, the bodhisattva who literally embodies wisdom. And he realizes, okay, this girl isn't just a good student who can follow instructions, she has a truly profound insight. So he steps in and he shifts the entire conversation from how to practice to the ultimate nature of reality itself.
And Manjushri just cuts right to the chase. No more small talk. He asks the biggest question there is. What is Bodhi? What is enlightenment, really? This is the pivot point of the whole story, where we go from practical advice to truly mind-bending philosophy.
And her answer is, wow, it's so short, but it's incredibly deep. A dharma of non-differentiation. What she means is that enlightenment isn't something you get or a place you go. It's the state of seeing reality as it is. Before we start carving it up with our labels, good, bad, me, you, holy, ordinary, it's a reality that's beyond all of those distinctions.
So Manjushri keeps pushing. Okay, he says, if that's enlightenment, then what's a bodhisattva? He's testing her, you see. He wants to see if she'll fall into the trap of creating a separate person on a separate path to that enlightenment.
But her next answer is just as brilliant. A bodhisattva, she says, is someone who gets that everything, all things, all phenomena, are like empty space. Now, this doesn't mean they're nothing. It means they don't have a fixed, solid, separate existence. Everything is interconnected, constantly changing, and fundamentally open.
And this, right here, is the mic drop moment of their whole conversation. Manjushri's question sort of implies there's a difference between an unenlightened person and enlightenment itself. And Miao Hui calls him out on it. She says, whoa, hold on, don't even think like that. Her point is crucial. There is no separation. Thinking of enlightenment as something out there that you need to get is the very mistake that keeps you from it.
So, the philosophical showdown has hit its peak. The debate is over. But Miao Hui isn't done yet. Now, she's going to go beyond words and actually show everyone what this non-dual wisdom looks like. Manjushri throws one last test at her, and this time, it's about her physical form. In that cultural context, the male form was often seen as better for achieving Buddhahood. So he's asking, aren't you going to change out of this lesser form? He's testing her on the ultimate duality of male and female.
And her response is just genius. It perfectly illustrates her entire point. She says the whole idea of a fixed femaleness is just a concept, an illusion. If you try to find its ultimate unchanging essence, you can't. So she asks, if the label itself is empty, what is there to change from or to? She completely dismantles the question itself. And then, right after making the point that form is empty, she demonstrates her complete mastery over it. Just like that, she transforms into a 30-year-old male monk. It's the ultimate teaching tool. She's showing them because form isn't a fixed, solid reality, it can be changed. And the fact that the whole assembly's skin turns gold, that signifies that everyone there just received this profound, direct teaching on a very deep level.
And to bring it all home, the Buddha himself steps in and confirms everything. He validates her deep realization, and then he reveals a stunning twist. In a past life, she was actually Manjushri's teacher. And finally, he predicts that in the future she will become a fully enlightened Buddha. This totally completes the story, confirming that this 8-year-old girl is one of the wisest beings there.
So where does all this leave us? The story starts with this very practical advice on how to live a better life, and it ends with this radical idea that all our distinctions, good and bad, self and other, even male and female, are ultimately just illusions. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. If the final destination is a state beyond all categories, what's the real point of all the daily, goal-oriented practices we do to try and get there? It's something to ponder. Thanks for joining me today.